was a slave. We're not slaves now, are we? We got weapons we didn't have before. We've got the law.
Wow, and that was just a portion. So Mayor, got weapons we didn't have before, and that is the law. This is one of the most spectacular movies I've ever seen in my life, and Chadwick Boseman, he did that. Similar to how Denzel Washington played Minister Malcolm X. I mean, these men channeled these great men. Your thoughts about Justice Thurgood Marshall?
I'm proud every time I hear it. Like HBCU graduate, I'm talking like 29 out of 32. People should understand what that means. And those cases were civil rights cases. He was winning for more inclusion into the American fabric, protection in the American fabric. What bothers my soul whenever I think about Thurgood Marshall's legacy is something that is the exact opposite of him, but it is a part of his legacy, and it's Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas, who replaced Thurgood Marshall, is doing everything in his power to undo what Justice did when he was there, and it is absolutely disgusting that you have to be the black man that replaced the first black man on the court, and you show up in this manner so anti-black when this brother did everything for our people. And the sad part about it is Clarence Thomas, from being a Geechee man from South Carolina, has a history that sounds just like Thurgood Marshall when he talked about his great grandfather being an enslaved person. Thomas' family wouldn't have been too far from that situation, and I know it won't no easy roads there. So the idea that you sit and pretend that you call affirmative action slavery is disgusting to me. Thurgood Marshall rolls every time Thomas writes a piece of paper with his name as a Supreme Court justice. He didn't want him to replace him on the court, but thinking about the glorious, the beautiful, the black beauty that is Thurgood Marshall, and how he was channeled by brother Chadwick, it is unbelievable to think that 2017 was the first time we had a movie about this brother and all the victories, all the dangers he put his life. People don't understand. He was doing court cases in these states.
No, I know.
That is a different danger. You gotta go down and research and ask questions. He was in Florida in dangerous parts. He was in North Carolina and South Carolina, all of these parts. In order to build these cases, you gotta be there. So imagine the death threats this man took on a regular basis without the limelight for most of his work. And I think this brother is everything we should all strive to be every day when we wake up.
Come on, you better talk about that. Now, Justice Marshall retired in 1991, and we will share some of the highlights from his retirement interview, press conference that he had from C-SPAN. So take a look.
In 1967, Thurgood Marshall was appointed to the US Supreme Court by President Lyndon Johnson. He served on the Supreme Court from 1967 to 1991.
And Justice Marshall was asked how he was feeling when he was walking in. He showed a little humor. Watch this.
How do you feel, Justice?
With my hands.
Justice Marshall showing us his lighter side. They got into some more serious questions. We won't be able to show all of this. Maybe we will go for another round with the justice. But as the mayor brought up, Justice Marshall was asked about who should replace him on the court. Should it be a person of color? Should it be a minority? Should it be a black person? And basically Justice Marshall went on to say, not just for the sake of it. He said that his daddy used to tell him a white snake and a black snake are the same. They both snakes, but he did it with such profound. I mean, I can't even do it justice, but we are running out of time. So let's go ahead and put up the last two, not the last, but two quotes from Justice Marshall that I pulled that really speak to me and hopefully it'll speak to you. One is, a child born to a black mother in a state like Mississippi has exactly the same rights as a white baby born to the wealthiest person in the United States. It's not true, but I challenge anyone to say It is not a goal worth working for. Amen to that, baby. Justice Thurgood Marshall, born July the 2nd, 1908, and he left this plane of existence on January 24th, 1993. And one other quote, because we could go on and on about this magnificent man. Here it is. This is a great country, but fortunately for you, it's not perfect. There is much to be done to bring about complete equality, remove hunger, bring reality closer to the theory and democratic principles. Again, Justice Thurgood Marshall, this week in history. He made that history, and thank God that he was there, and that President Lyndon Baines Johnson had the courage to pick the right man for the job, and he shook this country so profoundly. But that is our time, Mayor. I hate it went so fast. I can't wait till we do this again next Friday. And for all of you who joined us live today, we appreciate you. If you are listening to this on video on demand, thank you for that. Share it with other folks. You know what you need to do about this time. Always, always, always keep the faith, but more importantly, keep the fight. Until next time.
Welcome, friends. Welcome, family. What's up, Ma? Welcome to the Watch This, you guys. It's a Friday edition of the show. It's Friday on the show. The week has been creeping by. Let's just keep it real. It has, but we have arrived, and it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a pretty good one. There's depressing news always, but you know what? I think we're gonna switch those gears today. Partially because of my guest, but wait, no, don't go to them yet. Don't go to them yet. I want you guys to watch this and see what they have to say on the back end of it. Watch.
Again, this is the final boarding call for the United Flight 2356 with service.
You want different headphones this time? The kind that you plug?
We need security at C10 to open this gate. You got some people trying to catch their flight. We're here early. Y'all need to come open this motherfucking gate. Security, come to motherfucking flight C10, please. Security.
Time travel just might be starting, Francesca. So if you miss your flight, if you're slightly late, just knock on the gate door and ask for that mudkin folks to come and open it.
Yeah, I love that. Shoot your shot. You know, we've all been there. We've all been late, and sometimes they'll be nice and hold it. But with the prices that people are paying for flights in this summer, and the way that all the the airlines are squeezing us and gouging us, yeah, get on the mic. Get on the
Absolutely.
mic. Tell them to open up.
I would love to know how that ended, in case you guys haven't recognized it, in case you're new to the entire network. Francesca Fiorentini is right there to your left. It's more like my right. Who cares? Rebel HQ contributor, also the host of the Bituation Room podcast, who apparently has bonus episodes also on Friday. So check that out as well, because who would hate more of Francesca? Let's keep it real.
No one. You're a war criminal would hate more of me. That's right. If you don't like me, you're a war criminal. I said it.
We'll maybe get to some of those folks. I actually agree. So customary question as we get started, Francesca, how's the baby? She's lovely.
She's adorable, very, very cute. All of her top teeth are coming in at the same time, just like, and so she is very cantankerous, very upset about it. Doesn't just like, There've
been some long nights, I remember those. They were some of the worst. Well, hopefully you're here for this, because we got more things happening. Maybe we can get your mind off of those long, cantankerous evenings, at least for 1 hour. So let's go ahead and start over with Ted Cruz. He has thoughts, specifically since we're talking about Donald Trump and the classified documents, but there's some other president that's currently in office that they have to continue talking about in order to deflect. Let's see if this makes any sense.
If the Senate gets the impeachment and a trial is held, do you think you could ever get a supermajority to remove him?
I don't think Senate Democrats, if you had video of Joe Biden murdering children dressed as the devil under a full moon while singing Pat Benatar, they still wouldn't vote to convict.
That's nuts. Ted, what is that?
What it is, it's ironic. Coming from Ted Cruz talking to Joe Pags on the Joe Pags show about how Republicans could possibly impeach Joe Biden. Well, the only way that would happen is if Democrats get on board. And I think he said there'd be video of Biden killing kids dressed as the devil in the pale moonlight singing Pat Benatar. I don't know. But apparently that video wouldn't be enough for them to do anything about Joe Biden. Kind of like how this video doesn't do enough for people like Ted Cruz to turn on Donald Trump. Maybe he forgot. Watch.
I'll give you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't that amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look, this was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him. Wow. We look at some. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. Pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here. I just found. This totally wins my case, except it's like highly confidential. Yeah. Secret. This is secret information. Look at this. You attacking. By the way, isn't that incredible? Yeah. I was just thinking, because we were talking about it, and he said you wanted to attack Iran. You did. This was done by the military and given to me. I think we can probably, right? I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to classify it. Figure out it. Yeah. See, as president, I could have declassified it. Yeah. Now again, but this is still a secret. Yeah. Now Isn't that interesting?
So which party's gonna ignore tapes and videos of the president admitting to crimes? I guess the only crime that Ted Cruz could come up with. Joe Biden in the middle of the moonlight with Pat Benatar playing on some jukebox or something, dressed as the devil killing children. Wow, what a fantasy land this guy lives in, outside of the reality that Donald Trump just laid out there with all those classified documents. The reason why Ted Cruz continues to think he can say things like that and go whatever is because these are the people that they've put together, that they've collected as their support group. Here's MAGA and what they would do if they see the actual reality of this case.
Doesn't matter to me, not at all.
Outside the state convention, his supporters are unfazed.
I think it's a bunch of bull. Trump ain't done that. Wrong thing Trump done is saved this country.
They're not going to let it stop. They can't stand the fact that he's running for president. And I am a Donald Trump fan.
It's probably altered, but it's just typical liberal propaganda.
None of the Republican voters CNN spoke with had read the indictment.
No, I wouldn't waste my time on a phony indictment. I don't care about the indictment. You could indict a bologna sandwich.
Francesca, it's so much. I do this to you every time. I just stack 4 or 5 things for you to go on.
No, it's
because I trust you.
No, exactly. We're just missing the heartbreaker, dreammaker, love taker.
Is that the song?
Yeah, that's Pat Benatar. You know, I love that we know Ted Cruz has danced in the moonlight to Pat Benatar, and that's his thing, which is look, that's fine, but it was way too specific for him to not be the one to do that. He's talking about impeaching Biden. There's just this whole week has been so much the din of the right freaking out about what is so clearly multiple crimes that Trump committed. As you just showed, the audio from that is, I mean, God, endless cringe of him saying look at that, it's classified, and but I could have declassified, but I didn't anyway. Let's have lunch and a bologna sandwich. It's gonna get indicted along with me, as his supporter said. They're just trying to distract us from the fact that this is so clearly and cut and dry. And I can't believe that people like Ted Cruz wouldn't just take the opportunity to just make a break, bro. Make a break with Trump and MAGA. Have some, he hasn't found his balls in a very, very long time. Let's be real, but I don't blame him. But it's just this is your out. This is the one thing you don't have to defend, and they continue to defend it by deflecting and distracting and talking about Biden's crime family.
Oh, let's talk about Biden's crime family. Francesca, you set me up perfectly. That's why you're a professional here. We talk about these tapes. There's tapes of Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, whoever Biden, talking to some foreign informant, which, by the way, if they pop up, I'm willing to go ahead and accept them and see them as what they are. Except the folks that are pushing it continue to fail in pushing it. I'm not sure if you guys remember how many times Comer and company have been talking about it. These are the tapes apparently the Democrats wouldn't indict Joe Biden over. Watch.
With respect to the tapes, look, it mentioned in the FBI form that the oligarch had 17 tapes of Biden, 2 with Joe Biden, accepted the bribe, that he used that as an insurance policy.
This oligarch is was a high-ranking member or owner of Burisma?
Yes, that is exactly right. So
have you had any contact with him?
Unfortunately, nobody's had any contact with him for the last 3 years. But with respect to this oligarch, we think we know where he is. He just hasn't been seen in public in a long time.
If indeed these 17 audio tapes exist, it would be in effect really a smoking gun for the big guy. Senator, do you think they exist? And if yes, how to obtain them?
We don't know. And Senator Grassley has never said they exist.
When will you be able to confirm if these recordings are legit? How long is that going to take?
Well, I can confirm that the recordings were in the 1023. Remember, I was with Senator Grassley when we saw the unredacted version.
Okay, so because Grassley was saying alleged yesterday, so these recordings are legit. You can confirm they are legitimate.
They were. I can confirm they were listed in the 1023 that the FBI redacted. We don't know if they're legit or not.
We don't know, Francesca. We're still holding on the tapes of Joe Biden in the pale moonlight singing Pat Benatar, murdering children in a devil uniform. I think that's a little bit more likely than these.
No, and it's like, and we're still like, yeah, and so what is the crime? Well, you know, what is the crime? No, get to the crime, because we know Trump's crimes. We could talk about the crimes. You want to go crime for crime here? What's the crime? The son of the then out of office vice president, or maybe, for like got a job on a board of a company in Ukraine. And anyway, he used his dad as leverage. So, and well, then they did natural gas deals. What? With who? Well, the United States, does the United States have natural gas deals? Yeah, I get, but anyway, there's nothing here. There's literally nothing here. If we went after every single senator who placed their family member on a corporate board, or because they use their own access to get a job, my God, how many tapes would we have? How many people would we have to bring down? How many things that aren't crimes would we suddenly be calling crimes? It is so insane to me. And I'm just kind of floored. Nothing's been learned in terms of, we're just gonna keep, because those I'm sorry, not psychos, those poor sods who listen, you could indict a bologna sandwich. They hear the word 17 tapes, and Jayar, they just keep repeating it. They're just gonna think that forever now. There's 17 tapes of Hunter Biden. I don't know, Ted Cruz said killing children. Yeah, let's do it, killing children. Yeah, sure.
Must be that. It doesn't matter. We can hear Donald Trump talk about it and be like, I didn't hear that. But then we'll hear and see these representatives say, don't have it, never heard of it, lost it, I just made it up. Constantly, and they'll go, there's 17 tapes. Again, I'm ready for the 17 tapes. I'm not saying Joe Biden's never done anything in his life. I just want to see what it is. They haven't presented it yet. Let's shift gears, you guys. Let's go to this next story, because as conservatives that are fighting this entire culture war, they're discovering that they don't have as many allies as they thought they did, specifically at their headquarters of Fox News. Let's see what Charlie Kirk and company are doing, talking about the issues with the LGBTQ plus community.
Matt Walsh tweeted something interesting. What is that?
Matt Walsh has tweeted that that Daily Wire obtained internal documents from Fox News employees that Fox Corp is celebrating Pride Month by encouraging employees to read about, quote, glory holes.
What is a glory hole? Is this something that is considered to be commonplace knowledge?
All right, I'm Urban Dictionary. It is a type of sexual paraphernalia, I guess you could say.
Why is hold on, no, I don't want those websites.
I think there's something of paraphernalia. It's so cool.
I think there's a certain senator from Idaho.
It's a whole
cookies. Google knows about this forever. Your ads are going to be like that for the rest of time now.
Disgusting.
Wait, Charlie, how did that come right up for you like that?
I typed it in because I'm like,
I thought we had.
While these conservatives are discussing their issues with Fox News and how they betrayed them in these culture wars, something was discovered. Charlie Kirk discovered a new term. It was glory holes, that as they were reading up, just because they were chatting a little bit. And actually, my favorite part about that whole thing, hope you guys have it ready, is the moment that he realized. I wonder exactly what he read or saw. Either way, I like to see his face as he did one more time.
All right, I'm Urban Dictionary.
It is a type of sexual paraphernalia, I guess you could say.
Why is hold on, no, I don't want those websites.
I think there's something of paraphernalia. It's so cool. I think there's a certain senator from Idaho.
Yes, but it's a whole
cookies.
Google knows about this forever. Your ads are going to be like that for the.
The revelations came because, as they're mentioning, Matt Walsh had a long list of things that he was discovering about Fox News. Well, some of those things we can go over now because he's very upset and they have no idea how they're gonna continue to follow these folks over at Fox when they're celebrating Pride Month by allowing people to be people. Here's part of this crusade that Matt Walsh went on that they were reading. Here's a bit of his thread. He says, breaking. We've obtained internal docs from Fox News employees. Fox Corp is celebrating Pride, by encouraging employees to read about, quote, glory holes. Think about this description. Supporting a group that gives sterilizing hormones to homeless youth and deployed woke AI to monitor everyone. Here's the explicit content as he continues down. He points out that under this whole heading, they have support one another. So I want you guys to see if you can find all the offensive parts about this. Support one another is the first problem. Encourages employees to donate to the Trevor Project, Ali Forney Center, and also the LA LGBT Center. You know what some of those groups do? Because he described it in there. They help homeless youth that have been kicked out of their homes because they have parents who rejected them because of who they are. They also have ways that they can provide more equality for folks that have been kicked out or have been ostracized from medical, housing, jobs, things like that. They're looking to help folks that have been discriminated against and kicked out of society in hopes that they just end up on the streets and die. And Matt Walsh has a whole thread about how much he's disturbed by this because Fox suggested for Pride Month during their employees to maybe learn about the people that on a daily basis they push to their audience that they're supposed to hate. It went through a few things. He talked about how some of these organizations had chat rooms where inappropriate context in his mind were discussed. Another story about a mother who surprised her child who was transitioning with a part of the beginning initiatives to do so. And he was upset about this whole thing, as if they give a damn about these folks and their lives. Because if they're on the streets, what are you doing about that then? Nothing. By the way, I was looking deeper and Francesca, I've yet to discover where Fox employees are required to follow these suggested reading sources, which is some of the things that he was disturbed by, and also these resources towards the LGBTQ plus community. It wasn't in there, but I guess it just is.
I mean, if Matt Walsh tweeted it, then it must be real. Next story. No, come on, glory holes. Like this is so stupid. Maybe, and like good on Fox, they have Pride Month. They're aware that their own employees, many of them are gay, right? That will be celebrating Pride. They want to be seen. They are a massive corporation, employ hundreds of thousands of people around the world, and they want to be seen as not completely out of touch with Pride Month. They want to be seen as a place that is like, again, corporate bare minimum of morals. If a corporation is celebrating Pride and you think that that is wrong, you have fewer scruples and morals than a bloodthirsty, greedy, like money hungry corporation like Fox News that constantly spouts all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot here to unpack. I just want to call BS on the glory hole thing. Nobody is telling their employees to research glory holes. Unless I'm mistaken, that's not like a thing about inclusion. It's not gonna help anyone. There's no nonprofit dedicated to glory holes, homeless glory holes, not a thing.
Can I point out the glory hole part? We got to glory holes because there was a section on in learning and understanding things about the world maybe you don't live in, as Charlie Kirk discovered. And there's a book. So he went through the book. I guess he read the entire 3 books that were on this reading list of, hey, if you want to read more about it, there's a fiction book, a nonfiction book, and then something for children as well. So it was a fiction book and it told a story and there was some explicit parts in it because there's never been a book ever written about straight folks doing things that maybe you don't want your children to read about or maybe you don't want to read about. You know how many of those books I've read? Because I'm not interested in those books. If you want to read those books, there's this place. It's called, blanking on it, America. And you can do whatever the F you want. And they suggest, if you haven't heard about it, maybe read this book. I don't know if the point of the book was, but they found definitely one passage that he was definitely upset about, that was talking about glory holes. And that's what stuck with him. I think that says more about these folks than it does about the folks who wrote it. Whatever. Let's take this first break though, Francesca. And you guys, a few of your thoughts as we go into this. But when we get back, there's a lot more. Like I said, it's a Good Friday show. I mean, not in the religious sense, but it's a Good Friday. We've had repetitive versions of this. If you find body parts being sold online, you might want to wonder where it's coming from. Some of them might be coming from Harvard. That's odd. We'll do that when we get back.
Welcome to Indisputable. I'm your host, Dr. Rashad Richard. We got a lot happening today. But what do we do on this show? We tell the truth. You know why we tell the truth? Because the truth is simply indisputable.
Rashad, great to be here. Congratulations on the new show. And I gotta let everybody know that Rashad and I go way back.
Here's the pattern that we see in all of these Karen stories. They think they own stuff they do not own. Now, where does that come from? I don't know, maybe slavery. Maybe they think they should still own black people.
This is what happens when Karens weaponize the police. When you're used to privilege, equality seems like oppression.
It hits you in a certain way when someone is holding you against your will, treating you like you're a criminal and you're an innocent person. This is something that Black people face no matter where they are.
A stronger Black economy lends itself to a stronger, greater economy. Don't think it's exclusive of you, it's inclusive of you.
What's your beef with critical race theory?
It adds more fuel to the fire of the racist tendencies that we already have.
We have a generation of problem solvers that can remedy the problem if they are properly taught what the problem is.
You know who created redlining in this country? It was a white liberal.
I don't give a damn who created it. If it's a racist policy, Shelley, here's what I don't know. I don't know. See, there you go filibustering, brother. You're scared of this truth, but you're gonna get it, though.
Climate is changing fundamentally, extremely, and non-linearly. It's becoming worse now. It's not when the levees burst that is the problem. It's in the anticipation of that.
So I hope every human being is safe. And by human beings, I do not include multinational corporations, especially the ones that started climate change in the first place.
What we're currently doing right now in cutting emissions is clearly not enough. There will be ramifications to what Trump is doing. I don't want people to suffer, but I feel like there's gonna be a lot of suffering because we have an imbecile as our leader.
Watch list, happy people. Let's go to 2 IT members, you guys. Mountain Dragon, C Man Assassin 420 says, Franny and Jayar to end out the week for us and help send us into Juneteenth. Hope you guys are safe and healthy, especially Franny's little one. Happy Juneteenth yet again.
Thank you.
I think she's doing all right. It's a tough moment, but she'll get there. Let's see, over on Twitch, guys. Love you on Twitch. Sevson Medici says, Fiorentini Lamborghini and Jayar rated. I think we've hit that one. Haven't we hit that one before?
We've done Lamborghini before. I think if you say it 3 times, I get one. So
enough people do it, you can have a whole car lot full of these things.
Oh yeah.
I know you guys had a couple things to say about Charlie Kirk. Yeetwood Max says Charlie Kirk is scared of anything with a hole. Oh no. Mad Native Dragon says this fool knows what it is. He's been on both sides of said hole. It did look like it was pretty natural the way he had no idea what it was, and it was funny. I enjoyed it. Let's go to something that's not as enjoyable but also very criminal and apparently not all that uncommon. Let's go here.
Is it real? You know, I mean, yes, he was already passed away, but still.
This morning, the daughters of a New Hampshire sheriff's deputy who passed away in 2019 say they're horrified to learn their father's body was part of a grotesque criminal scheme at Harvard University. FBI agents yesterday arrested this man, Cedric Lodge, for allegedly stealing and selling dissected human body parts while he was manager of the morgue at Harvard Medical School. Investigators say in a scheme dating back to 2018, Lodge stole heads, brains, skin, and bones from cadavers donated to the school for educational purposes. He then allegedly brought those parts to his home and, with his wife's help, sold them for tens of thousands of dollars.
It's probably one of the worst kind of crimes you can pull on someone after they're no longer with us. But this story of this Harvard morgue manager selling, as you heard, those types of body parts, heads and bones and all these things. They've got more details of some of these horrific acts that he did commit that they did finally catch up. And it was more than just him. Watch.
Who could do something like that? You know, what kind of person? No respect at all for the family. They need to pay.
Do you have anything to say to the family? Nope. Buyers identified in the indictment include Katrina McLean, owner of Cat's Creepy Creations, a Massachusetts store that advertises creations that shock the mind and shake the soul. Officials say she and others were allowed to enter the morgue and choose what they wanted to buy, some items selling for hundreds of dollars each. In one case, skin that was sold was allegedly made into leather. And a PayPal account from one client allegedly included a transaction labeled Head Number 7. The deans at Harvard Medical School calling the allegations an abhorrent betrayal. But for the families involved, their trust has been lost. The family of that New Hampshire sheriff's deputy say his wife died earlier this year. Her body was also donated to Harvard. Her daughters now want her body returned.
She's down there. Yeah. And we want her back.
Hard stuff to deal with, you guys. But also, by the way, a little bit of imagery from that one particular group, the Cat's Creepy Creations, who was part, I guess, got inside access to pick and choose what they were going to purchase. Some of the things they create, as they said, skin turned into some kind of leather garment or something. I'm not sure if these particular things that they were selling include anything that they may have purchased from this particular transaction, but I guess they fit the bill of the creepy creations. Hopefully nothing is involved with those. But by the way, that morgue manager's name is Cedric Lodge. He was hiding his face, of course, as he's being arrested. I guess he's gonna say he had nothing to do with this, even though it looks like there's all kinds of evidence. By the way, they paid tons of money for this. I'm not sure where they got all this from. Maybe they're selling them on a high price here, because Taylor had paid over $37,000 through 39 PayPal payments to the lodges for these body parts. On May 9th of 19, Taylor also allegedly sent $1,000 payment to Denise Lodge with this memo. Head number 7, $1,000, $1,000. And then also November of 2020, Taylor allegedly sent $200 with the memo reading brains, like they're zombies or something. Both McLean and Taylor are accused of accepting nearly $50,000 in PayPal payments in 2021 and also in 2022 from the same man in Pennsylvania for those stolen human remains. Francesca, we did something similar to this before last year, I believe, or maybe it was early this year. There's folks that work in some of these morgues and they sell body parts, but this one is like extreme. It's like a showroom or something.
No, exactly, and it's at a prestigious medical institution. This is for the purpose of study and research. It's already a lot to donate your body to science, for your family to donate your cadaver, your body to science. I actually did a story on this for National Geographic Explorer once, and I learned about how, that in the University of Pennsylvania, for example, they'll have like a wake and a funeral, a mass funeral for all of the family members of whom they've whose loved ones they dissected to learn about human anatomy, and they kind of honor them through that, right? Well, then what happens to the body? And that's sort of a question, like even after that process, you sort of, the institution, the university says they're respecting the body, but what is happening ultimately? And this is not to dissuade people from donating, because that is crucial work. Med students have to know what a body is like, right? And so it is just so disgusting, because mind you guys, none of this is for any workable part. This is not like, oh, this liver still works or anything. No. This is all pure disgusting fascination. And like, JR, how are you gonna get away with this? Like, how does he and his wife, how do they imagine they will just get away with this? Especially when they're naming their Venmo and PayPal transactions brains. I wonder what they're buying from someone who works in a morgue and has evidence of them showing them around the place, like it's a Walmart or something. It's the process. They made tons of money on it, and now I guess they'll have to pay those prices. But then, how about all the folks they're never going to be able to recoup in these things? It leaves a hole in many of the families that then felt that it was a trustworthy thing to do. Because that's the thing. I mean, sorry, just to say the final thing is like, look, there's a difference between dissection and desecration, right? Like there's a difference between doing something that will help others. There's something very valuable and valiant in that, and someone who is literally desecrating a loved one, just for S's and gigs. I'm just gonna say S's and gigs because I can't say what I want.
I actually kind of like. I feel you. Maybe one day. Let's go ahead and shift gears again, you guys. Fights online sometimes end in visits to someone's hospital bedroom. That's what happened here up in Canada. Watch.
A man with apparent ties to far-right extremist groups somehow got access to the hospital room of an LGBTQ rights activist's dying father, where he took a selfie and sent it to her, in what community advocates are calling an act of intimidation and violence. The man, Bubba Pollock, did this after the activist called out his anti-LGBTQ organizing. I spoke with the activist today who confirmed the incident and sent me messages that Bubba sent her afterwards.
A lot of bad stuff going on here from Bubba. His name is Bubba Pollock. He's a far-right extremist up in Canada, and he has an issue with drag shows. So I guess the natural response to that is to go and intimidate and threaten folks. He went after Britt LaRue. He began arguing with her online over his involvement in these protests towards drag story hours. Drag story hours, not drag queen shows, just story hours. Here's the photo that they point out that he took inside of her father's hospital room. There he is by himself, hovering over this woman's father, who is apparently slowly dying in that room. He sent that picture and a series of these intimidating messages to her and her family. Here's a little snippet. No celebration, that sucks. Hope he names his family is in the obit so I can ensure I don't miss any for flowers. Yeah, man, looked good. I know, and he mentions probably someone's name, said she had a good time. Downside is you're fat, don't have the resources or wealth. What I do, and are a coward, so nothing will happen. I'll see you next week. So he's then saying he'll be back again after letting her know how close he can get to her family. She initially thought this whole thing was a fake. She said, I thought it was Photoshopped for a good 12 minutes. I thought it was a fake picture. And then when I realized that there were some things in my dad's room that had changed around that I knew were getting changed that day, she noticed something was a little more real about it. But a little bit more, because he watched a clip of her getting married outside of her father's hospital. And she pointed out how he was there. Here's an image of that. This is how he discovered where they were. More creepy behavior from him as well to make sure he's intimidating folks. But now he's been arrested for criminal harassment. So according to LaRue, hospital staff confirmed by security footage that Pollock was in the hospital for 8 minutes. Windsor police disclosed on Friday that Bubba Pollock of London, Ontario was arrested following an investigation that began earlier in the week. So he showed up, thought this was a good idea, and maybe, I'm not sure what the end game was. But it definitely probably wasn't to be arrested because he's got a track record on hating on folks and showing up to white nationalist events, apparently against drag queen story reading hours as well. I guess the next step is to start assaulting old, dying men in the hospital.
It's so chilling. That is so chilling. I mean, if that were you, how could you ever? I don't know, like, how could you go on after knowing that? I'd be so angry. I'm really glad he's been arrested. But this is the thing, man. This, and let's just call it out. Let's call out the like so-called big tech that has a bias against, conservatives. No, it doesn't. They're spouting and spewing endless amounts of anti-LGBTQ plus propaganda throughout every single platform, all over, and it does not get demonetized. It is totally A-okay. They're continuing to do that. They're running Twitter now. And what is the result? The result is psychos are showing up to people's dad's hospital rooms. And of course, because he's a white guy, he gets in. Oh yeah, who are you to see? Oh, my grandfather. Oh, tight, go. Like what are we doing here? What is going on? And so I just feel like it is so sick because it's one thing to like, oh, we cover the silly things Matt Walsh says. We cover what Ben Shapiro says. We cover what Fox News and whomever, oh, it's funny. And then this happens and you're like, oh, no, none of this. And the people who are doing the propaganda spouting are the ones who are the last ones to take any kind of responsibility and accountability for the kind of hatred and violence that they're inciting.
100%. And by the way, this, like we pointed, this is up in Canada. Yeah, I think in Ontario. So let's look at graphic 6, you guys, really fast, because this is him at a couple of events. Yeah, White Lives Matter events. He's got Trump hats on, things like that. And this is someone pointing out some of these other things he's been involved in. Apparently in 2018 he was charged with sex-related charges there as well. But he's got Trump hats on. This guy doesn't. I assume he's Canadian, unless he just lives up there and he's American. But assuming that he's Canadian, you're voting for Trump. There's drag show things happen up there that you suddenly have an issue with because the Republican Party in the United States of America are pushing it for their political purposes, and somehow it connects to Canadian politics. I don't know where. It's the hate. It's definitely not the politics, because this isn't political. This has nothing to do with who represents anyone who lives in his area. This is about the hate. Let's go ahead and switch gears again, though, you guys. We see police interactions. Now, this one was a little bit extended with how they were trying so hard to make sure they nailed down this one person over a very, very egregious traffic violation. Let's get started here.
Say that one more time.
Yeah, you didn't use your blinker.
Okay, and I purposely used it because I know that you were going to.
And then you also can't have this.
And I can't have a tiny tree obstructing my view. Can you get your supervisor here, please?
He doesn't have to be.
Can you please get your supervisor here?
Can you get the registration proof of insurance?
Yes, I can. Can you please call your supervisor here?
So let's get the proof of insurance.
Can you please call your supervisor here?
I don't have to call my supervisor.
Why not? Because I feel it is an unlawful stop because you have no reason. I purposely put on my blinker to turn down this street because I knew that you were going to follow me on this street.
Apparently, there's something really bad going down. This cop has pulled this gentleman over, talked about no blinkers and all that type of stuff. You know, the normal surface things you could potentially pull someone. Oh, but then there's that big obstructive thing in his rearview mirror. The person there sitting there getting pulled over also asked for a supervisor to show up, which he didn't really want to, but I guess if this is the supervisor, let's watch more.
And every time I asked for a supervisor, he said, "Oh, he doesn't have to be here. He doesn't have to come out here. Let me see if he wants to come out." Like, let you see if he wants to come out, man. Call your supervisor. I know that y'all can do that. I'm a black man driving in a white neighborhood, peacefully. No music, no nothing. Exactly, yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. You want to speak with a supervisor?
Yes, sir. I asked to speak with you because I feel that there is no reason for this pullover.
So, listen, when we have school traffic we have to get to, so officers, wherever they're at, that's where they start heading to. There's schools in the area that he was probably getting to, which makes sense from the route. That he was taking.
I mean, not really, because I saw him pass me, and I know that he turned around and started following me.
All right, listen. If you said you didn't have your blinker on, that's what he saw. I wasn't the one that observed it, so that's all.
All right, but you could check his dash cam, though, right?
I can't check it right now.
All right.
Everything's rolling right now. When he goes back to headquarters, it can be uploaded.
Okay.
So whatever the outcome of that the stop is, if you want, I don't know if he's giving you a ticket or not, but if there's a ticket, there's obviously going to be a dash cam that's going to be showing that there was a blinker that was being utilized for that.
What are they pulling this guy over for again? This is now long, drawn out. Blinker, not blinker, check the dash cam. I did, maybe your tail light is out. I don't know what it is, but we gotta do something, right? Because now it's been this long. Let's figure out how we're gonna finally leave after we potentially have an issue on our hands with proving our case. We gotta get something. This is how it wraps.
Where we go from here, that's what I wanna know.
So here's where we go from here. You think you hit the blinker.
Another one.
You think you hit the blinker. Maybe you're both count, because I didn't see a blinker.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Now, moving violations, you know those carry points. I don't want to do that. We're not going to do that. I'm going to just give you a ticket for that. That's it. You pay it online, you're done.
This is the supervisor, right?
That is the supervisor, yeah.
Obstruction? I mean, how many people do you see have that in their car? How is that obstruction of view when I can clearly see through here? This is a little tree that I never look at. So how is that obstructing my view?
It's considered under 34, 39 and 374. It's a window obstruction. You can get a citation for that.
So here's your stuff.
All right, thank you.
Have a great day and drive safe.
Is there anything else you want me to help you with, or?
No, that's it. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Just make sure it's almost out. Get that out inspected in the next couple of weeks. All right. Have a good one, man.
Yep.
So you can see the laughter at the back end. Go ahead and get that taken care of for the inspection next couple of weeks, because we know this is entirely BS. It's the way they operate. By the way, of course, Francesca, we've seen these before. Here's that law that the supervisor pointed out. Graphic 1, you guys. Driving a vehicle with view to rear and sides obstructed. No person shall drive a vehicle that is so constructed, loaded, or covered in as to prevent its driver from having a clear view of the traffic following at its sides. Unless it's equipped with a device that will show the driver the rear to the rear and to the side. So apparently that tree is a big issue there. But also, according to graphic 3 here, many drivers find themselves in these familiar with these violations. They've netted the state more than $21 million since 2015, either as a warning issued by police officers instead of a speeding ticket, or the pretext for a motor vehicle stop, especially involving minority drivers. So it's the normal thing, like your blinker's out, I see a crack on your windshield. Is that a scrape on the side of your car? Your tire's a little bit low. Now let's go and see if we can dive into anything else we can about you. Francesca.
No, it's all right. I thought we were going.
Oh no, you're all good.
I just, I'm happy that this didn't escalate into something crazier, right? Because we've seen when cops feel like they're in the wrong, like oh man, I know I stopped this person for no reason and I'm not able to like get out of this, that they just start yelling. That's their go-to. It's yell, take out their, their weapon and be like, what's that? And like pretend like they saw something. Let me see your hands. So good on this cop for not escalating it to that degree. But it is so interesting when push comes to shove and he has it all on tape, there is no reason that he pulled him over. He pulled him over because he was driving while black and everyone knows it. The supervisor knows it, the cop knows it. We all know the air freshener is BS. And this is what we call it a microaggression, but these instances can end in death. Every single day they have ended in death. Yeah. If that officer had a bad day, if he was hangry, who knows? Black Americans live at the whim of an officer with way too much power and way too little patience. So, I'm just glad it ended like this.
Yeah, also with mistakes. Glass half full. I'm glad you took that approach, Francesca, because there was the instance of other states doing this as well. Of course, they pull people over for small things like obstruction in the window for an air freshener. That was the story with Kim Potter when she pulled over Dante Wright. And then that ended in her thinking that her gun was a taser. It all started there. And then altercations then occurred and death then happened. So we know how bad it actually can get, but still. They made $21 million in the last, 8 years over this. So I guess it's a necessary evil. Let's jump to this next story though, you guys. I'm not sure if you guys have ever had these jobs as a door-to-door salesman after college. And then in between me just starting here with the Young Turks way back in the day. I think this is one of the types of things I did for like literally one shift. I can't remember what I was trying to be selling, but I was trying to make rent. Sometimes you run into folks who just don't want you at your doors. They should probably hang up these types of jobs. Let's watch this.
Give me your business card.
I don't have one.
What are you doing here without a business card?
I'm just taking care of people's bugs, sir.
What do you mean bugs?
Spiders, ants, roaches.
What company are you with?
Hawks.
Hawks?
Yeah.
Why don't you have a business card?
Because I'm just a route manager out
here.
Get
the out of this neighborhood,
Why?
Dude. You're not allowed to just walk around people's private property. You're not allowed to. You don't have an appointment.
Sorry. I don't know why you're so angry, sir. I wish I could help you out.
I'm trying to get this guy out of the neighborhood. He's driving everybody crazy.
You're the only person. All of your neighbors were really nice. You're the only one that's acted like this.
Back up. You interrupted my business.
I'm sorry.
You're not sorry.
You didn't even answer the door.
Sure.
Pest control, that is. Who's the pest? Apparently this door-to-door salesman is definitely the pest because folks are running up very upset, specifically this guy. He interrupted his damn business. Apparently this happens a lot. He's even got a whole page that says Jaden sells Karens. I thought it was pests. There's gonna be something weird going on between these interactions because there's a little bit more, but let's look at the best part about that whole thing again. That one angry neighbor whose house he was not at and his response. A little bit here.
I'm just taking care of people's bugs, sir.
What do you mean bugs?
What kind of bugs you talking about?
What do you mean bugs? I don't know, sir. It kind of seems like you might be infested yourself. Do you mind if I just check your collar? Get off me! Like you just, that you might have bed bugs, sir. I'm itchy. Oh, is that what those are? Those are bugs? Like I've never heard of bugs.
So he jumps back in his truck, takes off. People are very upset. But you know what? This roving salesman has not been deterred. He goes to another lady's house, and oh my God, let's watch.
So I'm 18. You're gonna go pull a knife on me?
Such a nice kid. Do not walk around in neighborhoods for non-soliciting.
It's my job. What do you want me to do?
There's a sign that says no soliciting. That means you're not allowed to enter into this community. Period. You can stop recording me.
I'll walk away.
Dude, stop recording me. You want to understand? You want to play? I'll go get my husband. He's not going to play with your mother ass. You didn't expect that, right? You can expect the that from Chicago, from New York, all of that. And go.
I feel like I don't fucking call the cops on you.
Call the cops on me.
You just assaulted me.
I just assaulted you.
Yeah, and I have you on video.
Illegally recording me.
This keeps happening. You know what? Eventually you might start wondering, Francesca, who is it? Because everybody's so upset. None are as quite as upset as this last one.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
What the you want?
Just came to see if you want some.
Get the out of here, you sons of bitches.
Whoa.
Off my property right now.
What's going on?
Get out of here.
Okay.
I don't want your service.
Easy.
Scam. Get the
That's not a
Easy,
scam,
brother.
sir.
Easy.
Get out.
Easy.
Okay.
Hey,
we're leaving.
Kiss now, mother.
Sir.
Hey, no need to use profanity, brother. I was just
Leave.
cleaning by. Yeah.
Now.
We will.
Sir.
Get off of my property, you sons of bitches.
What is
Go.
wrong with you?
We're going.
You mother.
Hey.
Trespassing. Get the fuck here
Trespassing
now.
at all.
Dude,
Go.
Okay.
have a good day.
Don't
Holy
fuck back here, you motherfucker.
fish in your Cheerios, huh?
Eat me, motherfucker.
Eat you? I would never eat you.
Lick my ass.
Oh, I bet it tastes like shit. Ugh.
You are disgusting.
Oh,
bro.
Dumbass.
I feel bad for your wife, sir.
Dumbass mother.
Wow.
Wow.
He doesn't have a wife.
He doesn't have a wife. I don't know who screamed that. But Francesca, yo, I was on his side, and now I'm beginning to wonder.
I know that second one did it for me. I was like, wait a minute. And Jaden sells Karens. This is a kid with a little bit too much time on his hands. You know, maybe he's got a little gap year. He hasn't figured out what he wants to do after college. He's trying to, he's doing the grind set mindset as Gen Z does, and is like, you know what sells? Karens. So I am gonna sell Karens. Now, it seems like he's a white kid, which is very, very relevant given that Ralph Yarl just knocked on the wrong house and was shot in the head for doing so. This is the kind of punk move that only a kid with a lot of privilege can get away with. I'm just gonna film randos in a neighborhood. And yeah, if he's knocking at any time of day, he doesn't have a uniform and doesn't have a business card, he probably not there for the bugs.
Are business cards still a thing? See, I feel you.
I think so.
But the business card, is that the big indication? I mean, who still prints those out? Aren't those companies out of
What do
business?
you mean bugs? I just.
What do you mean bugs?
I mean, it was worth it for that line. We're sold, right?
Let's play with what do you mean bugs one more time. This is side too.
Just taking care of people's bugs, sir.
What do you mean bugs?
What do you mean?
It's so sing-songy.
Absolutely. Maybe this guy, maybe it'll be a meme. Who knows? We could start something at some point.
But what do you think? You think it's real? No. He's just messing with people.
This is way too consistent of anger. That's the thing. But like you said, look, we had that string of people getting shot just for sitting and walking and driving. So somewhere in the middle for me. But I mean, the fact that when you see a consistent anger from folks of all different backgrounds, it seems, I wonder.
Yeah.
Or he just knows the certain neighborhoods to hit. By the way, you guys, Twitch really fast. I like what you guys were talking about this because maybe this is it. Barely funky, just slightly. Says neighborhood watch taken to the extreme. Because again, that first guy with the bugs, he drove up. That was not his house. He's tired of seeing him patrol the neighborhood and knock on people's doors and ask them, I guess, whatever it is that angers them so much. Start and Park Racing says pest control. I would have sprayed in self-defense. I don't know, some raid, I guess, something like that. We got another story to get to you guys before we wrap up the rest of this week. Maybe you guys saw this happening. It's graduation a season here in America as kids are graduating and moving on with their lives. And sometimes there's one last hiccup that they encounter when they're walking across the stage. Watch.
Hafsa Abdur Rahman. Jabria Scott. Stephanie Huck.
A high school senior in Philadelphia, as you saw the back in there, was rejected from her diploma being handed to her on stage. Kind of ruined the whole moment, maybe even for the family and for herself as well. I mean, the egregious behavior sometimes needs to have immediate punishment. See if you can find out what that egregious behavior is one more time.
Stephanie.
Did you guys catch it? It was a little bit of a gritty across the stage. Maybe it was the "it's over" type of cut as well. Who knows?
Yeah.
She wasn't the only one though. There's one other girl that was also caught on tape being denied as well. Let's see if you can figure out what she did.
Rihanna Baxter. Mahik Ahmad. Betty Lee. Shayla Davis.
So that was it. Let's go to graphic 2 to start out this explanation though, you guys. The 17-year-old from Philadelphia's Olney section said that the principal warned students their families could not cheer or clap when they walked on stage, is what Abdur Rahman said to the first girl there. I understand the rules because I was saying shh in the video. Do not say nothing because I want my diploma, is what she said. I knew and understood what we were supposed to do. But then the principal stole that whole moment from her, is what she said. Back to graphic 1, you guys. The principal stole the moment from me. I will never get that again. Abdur Rahman cried tears of humiliation instead of joy at her high school graduation there just on the 9th there. And then because you heard a little bit of cheers. That second girl, I think she waved and maybe did a little like hand gesture, and then someone, whoa, from the audience, potentially her family. And that rejected her diploma there as well. One more party before you jumped in here, Francesca. If they thought that I shouldn't do, quote, the gritty across the stage and do the girls' high traditions, nobody should have been able to wave or blow kisses or do period signs, because I feel like that's the same thing. I feel like it's unfair. So apparently more people are doing their little gestures as well. So she's the one who caught all of the hell from this. And then, of course, the actual diploma is given later, but the moment on stage when you get to maybe photo opportunity and the full ceremony was cut short because someone went.
This is the second story we've done like this, right? How many stories are there with like kids, specifically black kids who are graduating high school, who are being continually policed by their school administrators because what? They expressed any kind of joy for doing a huge thing, which is graduating high school. Like I don't understand this. I don't know if something changed from like when we were in high school, but like, I guess you couldn't wear certain things, like there was a dress code, but the idea that you couldn't, like, I think when I graduated high school, I probably did one of these like make it loud, like,
noise, yeah.
Like that. I did that. And yeah, you got, because I wanted people to cheer for me because I am, of course, a massive ham and a comic. So people had to cheer for me, but it's so sad. She didn't get her diploma. And that Karen of an administrator just like, no, like she's so happy to not give her the diploma. It's awful.
She knocked her hand away. Did you notice that?
No.
She had her hand out and then she was like, no, pulled it back, and then she had her hand out and she knocked it away. Like, no, not gonna happen here. I don't know if if we have a couple seconds to see it, maybe you can run as we're talking. Because there's, this seems to be like, here, I don't know if we had it. It was right before that. So the thing is there's a video, maybe let's look for a second here. Hand out, get that out of here. She's Dikembe Mutombo.
Self-satisfied Karen.
No. By the way, I was seeing videos of this high school graduation down in Baton Rouge or New Orleans area, where all the students as they graduated were full on dance line type of dances, celebrations. It was a party at the bottom, at the floor, as they were finally happy about the opportunity to move on with the next stages of life. Stuff that people always want to celebrate. And I wonder how many people, after seeing that display, got so upset. I wish I had the video, almost forgot from today. From the display of folks dancing, children, well now adults graduating high school, some of them 18, dancing and celebrating and enjoying themselves, because this whole thing called a celebration is weird. Yeah. I'm not sure how much it disrupted the ceremonies or how they can never have another graduation again on this campus because of it. I'm okay with rules as long as there's a reason behind them.
Welcome to education. Like most education institutions and school administrators, no, there's no reason. It is just to keep you in line and to prep you to be a little worker bee, for the corporations who are going to underpay you. So rise up, everybody.
Yeah, you have to settle in, make sure we're down on this one small piece of a rule. And by the way, maybe it's for time, right? If everybody cheers, it's gonna be long applauses for all 350, 400, 500, who cares how many graduates there are? And it's gonna take much longer. We have this place rented from 2 to 4:30. So they can't do it that way. Except in this case, someone giggled and someone went, whoa! I don't know how much longer that took. There has to be a reason behind it. That's it, Francesca. Thank you for joining me on the program today. It's been a big Friday. Appreciate you. You guys, of course, check her out on the Bitchuation Room, and especially on Fridays when they have bonus episodes as well. Thanks, Francesca. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Happy Juneteenth as well. Also, thank you guys as well. Enjoy your weekend. Up next is the Young Turks. We got more power panels happening. Go check them out. We'll see you next week. All right, see you. Bye.
I'm just taking care of people's bugs, sir.
What do you mean bugs?